Excuse me. Good morning and welcome back to those who've just left morning prayer with me. And my name is Brother Sean, for those who don't know who I am. And I'm sharing with you a live webinar on our thought for today. We have two reflections to share with your heart. But first, let us just be still and come back into your heart and just relax. Be mindful that you're comfortable, relaxed, and ready to hear in your spirit the words that have been chosen for you today. And welcome Timo, and welcome Michael, Sharon, and welcome back, dear Grace, and Sister Susie, welcome, and Brother Michael in sunny Perth, Australia, welcome. And the sun has just come out, but there's still a nip in the air here in Cumbria. Now, this morning, our first reflection is from the book You Are the Beloved by Henry J.M. Mouven. And the theme this morning is a new way to be human. Well, let's read on. The love of God is an unconditional love, and only that love can empower us to live together without violence. When we know in our heart that God loves us deeply and will always go on loving us, whoever we are or whatever we do, it becomes possible to expect no more of our fellow men and women than they are able to give, to forgive them generously, especially when they have offended us, and always respond to their hostility with love. Not easy, but if you call on the divine, it becomes easy. By doing so, we make visible a new way of being human and a new way of responding to our world's problems. So a new way to be human. Well, I think of the words of the great Buddha Dhammapada, words I've quoted now for many years. Hate is not overcome by hate. Hate is overcome by love. Let's reflect on those words. Hate is not overcome by hate. Hate is overcome by love. And that love I'm referring to, it's not a physical, sensual love. It's divine love. And it's not possible for me or you to engage in a conversation with someone who's attacking us, who provokes us, who demeans us, who belittles us in public, is it? So what does one do? Well, we're guided to smile, although in our head we want to give them a good slap or a kick up the butt, as our brothers and sisters would say across the pond. But seriously, it's wise to take a step back, because what's hurting is our ego, our false self. But we have a duty of care to our spirit. And part of that duty of care, I believe, is to stay in our comfort zone, that divine protection where we know we're safe. But the moment we allow our ego dictate to our heart and come out of our comfort zone, we're vulnerable to attack. I remember about 10 years ago, I was running a retreat in Bonnie, Scotland, in Glasgow, the home of my birth. And I was in this school, which was over 100 years old, boys one side, girls the other. It was a magnificent building near the university. And I slept in the head teacher's office. They had a couch there. So I slept on this couch. I think it was used for Reiki treatments. I was scared to move in case I rolled off because it was high up. And I thought I'll have an early night on the Friday night, having traveled up from Cumbria to Scotland. And no sooner had I put my head on the pillow, I could hear people outside shouting, bawling, screaming, living up to their Glaswegian reputation, where they had too much to drink, and it went on till 4:45 in the morning. At first, it was a husband and wife who'd fallen out through drink. And as I got up on a chair to look through the window, I could see him dragging her by her hair in the pouring rain, and I thought, oh my God. But then a neighbor came out to complain about the racket. Then their husband joined her. So you had two couples involved in the most horrendous vitriolic attack of verbal abuse. And it was incessant. And I was wrecked in the morning. But looking back, I giggle, I laugh, because neither party were listening to their heart. Drink was talking for them, and it was loud, it was abusive, it was demeaning. They were like a pack of wild animals. But what did they achieve? Well, the women, I would imagine, lost a lot of hair from their head, and I would imagine they had bad heads in the morning. So what I'm saying is, if you say you're a light worker or that you are a devout follower of the Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, Sikh, Islamic tradition, then you have to respect who you represent. You have to you have to reflect on representing something much bigger than you, which is a community of love. And the moment you can stand in the middle of that vitriolic attack and just smile, I know it antagonizes the person having a go at you, but silence speaks more words than you can imagine. It unnerves the person attacking you. Like one of the neighbors we have at the back of the monastery, who's always moaning and whinging and shouting at me because of the noise of the hens when they're laying their eggs. It's nature. And there are times when I want to throw a stone at him to shut him up, but I just say, Lord, please give me the strength not to respond. And the more I stay quiet, the more he gets fed up. But the moment we drop our guard, we've lost it. But you can overcome by asking God for strength to keep your mouth zipped and to try and send out a blessing. And that way, you're not taking on board the negativity and the baggage of the other person. But your ego will smart. Your ego will hurt, and you will want revenge. Yes, you will. But if you stay in your center, your God center, you will have done what the Master would expect of you. Moving on to our next reflection, the spirit of Caleb. Well, what about Caleb? Well, the author of this magazine says, go to Numbers, the book of Numbers, chapter 14, verse 24, and you will read, my servant Caleb has a different spirit. Well, let's see. If Caleb was alive today, there's a good chance he'd qualify for Person of the Year, someone who has done the most to influence circumstances for the better. Here's his story in his own words. I was 40 years old when Moses sent me to explore the land. I brought him back a report according to my convictions, but my fellow Israelites who went up with me made the hearts of the people melt in fear. I, however, followed God wholeheartedly, and that day Moses swore to me, the land on which your feet have walked will be your inheritance. Wow. So here I am today, 85 years old, as strong as the day Moses sent me out. I'm just as vigorous to go out to battle now as I was then. Well, that's hope for me at 70. Now give me this hill country that the Lord promised me. And then Joshua blessed Caleb and gave him Hebron as his inheritance because he followed the Lord wholeheartedly. Joshua 14, verse 7 to 14. You can learn valuable lessons from a man called Caleb. His life can be summed up in 4 sentences. The first, he had a different spirit from those around him. He was positive, a glass half full kind of person. And secondly, he believed with God's help, every giant that stands in your way can be conquered, even when others tell you they can't. And thirdly, he had a vision that neither age nor circumstance could diminish. And he was willing to wait and work for it, even though it took 45 years to fulfill. And fourthly, in old age, he remained young at heart and totally committed to God. So ask God to give you the spirit of Caleb. Well, I'm asking God for the spirit of Caleb because 11 years ago this April, when I knelt at the tomb of St Francis, and I heard and sensed in my being, Jesus and Francis put a request to me. I thought I was barking mad to nurture their community. And I thought, hello? A Franciscan community of men and women that they will call by name from all faiths to come and live together and to dance together, to praise God together in love. That was 11 years ago. And though each day has been a challenge in those 11 years, and I mean challenge, where you think, was I imagining it? Is that why it's not materialized? But then something said, keep praising God, keep thanking God. For the Lord will reveal to you the place where he will bring his children. And that's why we pray a prayer of gratitude to God in a loving trust. And I'm a much older monk now than I was 30 years ago when we set up a foundation for women and children, babies with AIDS, and supported by the late Princess of Wales, Her Royal Highness. I was young then, I had the energy, but now I have the same energy because it's for God. It's not for me, it's for God. So you can do anything, if it's God's will. And like Caleb, he trusted. Yes, he had to wait many years for the fulfillment of the promise, but he trusted. He didn't go off in a sulk, oh, I didn't get my own way. And so many of us get dispirited when we don't get what we ask of God. And today, you'd be amazed how many people are in business reading fortunes. All you have to do is save yourself a fortune and sit and listen to your guardian angel. They will tell you what to do. No, they will show you a different route and allow you to reflect and pray. But today people have this insatiable desire of wanting to control God by demanding, I want this. I have emails from people who are so disrespectful to themselves, where they demand I pray for material things and I won't. Because God doesn't do want, God does need. God provides your needs. And when I read from the 2 readings this morning, my heart is on fire. Because it's saying to me, don't despair, dear brother. The Lord has a plan for you, and he will materialize it when he knows best for you. So if you're at a crossroads and you're not sure whether to break the traffic light and go through on red or wait till it changes color, the Lord will bless you. If you're willing to be still and to listen to your heart, not your false self, not what other people think of you, but what God thinks of you, then you will see miracles performed, as I have. Now, they're not huge miracles like I'm on the moon sunbathing, but I have seen miracles here when people have come in a dreadful state, suicidal, distraught, some demonic possessed, and I didn't know till we prayed over them. But the moment you bring in the Christ and step back and allow God do the business, you see a miracle where that person has been completely transformed through prayer and healing. But are you willing to trust your heart, your greatest teacher? Or would you rather allow your life be a life that's unfulfilled, miserable, worrying about this, that, and the other? Or would you rather have inner peace And when the problems come, they don't have the same impact because your mindset is a positive one, where you bless the problem. Look, I'm not asking you to do anything that I don't do myself. I struggle with health issues, but I'm not letting them get me down. 2 years ago, I was told I would lose both my legs because of many years of heavy lifting as a nurse and as a nursing monk. The consultant was quite serious. He said, they'll be off at the end of the year. And I really felt distraught. How am I going to manage? And a little voice said, well, you can get around on your butt. And I thought, so I will. But I still have my legs. I just bless them. Yes, I fall down many times, but I get up again like the Lord. I deal with manic depression as a result of taking a prescribed antidepressant 23 years ago at the loss of a dear friend whose young death shattered me because we were mates for 28 years in the monastery. And he made me laugh. The others made me cry. But you know what? I bless it. And I just say, Lord, the dark night has appeared and I'm struggling to pray, but I bless it and I give it to you as my best prayer for today. And I leave it there. And suddenly your mindset changes from being one of feeling sorry for yourself and allowing your child saboteur destroy the good that God has done for you. No way, Jose. As you mature on the spiritual path, you realize that the trials and the struggles we each have to face every day are often a blessing from God, in which is disguised a very powerful message with a blessing. God doesn't punish us. Hello, we punish ourselves because we spend too much time wallowing on our false self and listening to negative voices. Oh, I must see my shrink today. Hello. The best shrink you can see is to switch off your mind, take a deep breath and relax and use your gift of free will and ask the Christ or Buddha or Vishnu or Ganesh or Krishna to come into your space. That's too much trouble today for a lot of people. They want it yesterday. They've no time to wait. They're too busy multitasking. Well, tough. Your health is your wealth, and my inner peace is more important than losing my legs. I can get false limbs and get about, but if I lose my inner peace again, which I did 23 years ago, when I had a very serious mental breakdown and was suicidal and very ill for 4 years, I certainly don't want to compromise on what God has given to me now. I have fun in my life. I laugh with the Lord. I dance with him. I've even been found in the woodland hugging trees, and they say, oh, it's that mad monk. I couldn't give a sausage. For the first time in my life, I am happy with the Lord. I spent too many years being miserable, worrying about what other people would think of me. What a silly fool I was. But you have been given a gift today. And you already have the information and the tools that you need in your soul's DNA. Because before you were born, God gave to you, impregnated in your spirit, the tools, the wisdom. And all you have to do is get off your butt and ask. And ask God, show me. But are you willing to do that? Or would you rather go around feeling, oh, I'm not very well? Look, to be in service to God, you need to be a clown today. You need to laugh at yourself. You need to enjoy life. You mustn't take yourself seriously. I did for nearly 50 years. And I was the most miserable person going. Yes, as a nursing monk, I'd no joy. I was frigid, miserable. I frightened people. Today, I just run up to people and hug them and smile and leave God do the rest. We've had enough of the dogma. We've had enough of the guilt and enough of the fear. It's time we boogied. It's time we partied with the Lord. And that's how I see the Frank Clara Abbey of Peace. It will be a place of partying with God. And if you want to be a part of that, come on, let's do it together. But remember, you have to take the first step. To some, that's the hardest step because it hurts the pride. The moment you swallow your pride and say, yes, Lord, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm willing, show me, He will. I'm sorry I've gone on a little bit. Let's pray. Lord, this journey can be a tough cookie where we don't know whether we're Arthur or Martha, where we feel like an elastic band that's about to snap, and where many of us are locked in a negative mindset. We're afraid to be who we are. We're afraid to let our light shine. We're afraid for fear of being put down, rejected, and admonished. But Lord, you called each one of us here for a reason this morning. I have no idea, Lord, of what I've shared, because I know in my heart it was you speaking through me. And my prayer, Lord, is that you will have touched someone's heart. If it's only one, Lord, then I know I've done your work. But I pray many more will come to this table of love and give themselves permission to have some me time and to retreat from their mind, their worry and fear, and come into this spiritual watering hole and top up with some of your gasoline and go out and set this world ablaze with a new mindset of love. Thank you for listening to an old monk. Namaste, shalom, inshallah, pax et bonum, om shanti, solo di caritas, salam alaikum, and may the peace that I refer to as Christ's peace reawaken you now to who you really are. You're unique. You're a beloved. I wish you a blessed sleep, dear friends across the pond. And for the rest of us, I truly wish you have a good day. And if you want to know more about the life we live as members of the Teo community, we're perceived by many as crazy, and we are, because we've been set free from religion that's stuck in the past. Because we take the word of Christ and we live it, and we have fun. Let's party together. God bless. Take care. Oh, praise you, Lord.